Hey guys, welcome back. I want to jump right in it because Icon has dropped their latest version of what we could call the KNIPEX Twin Grips. And these are KNIPEX 8201-200s. And of course, these are made in Germany. And if you haven't heard of them, these are very popular and actually very nice pliers. But Icon or Harbor Freight has recently dropped their version, and they actually just dropped yesterday. And I picked up this set. They are 8 inches, and they call theirs the Fast Adjust Push Button Slip Joint Pliers. Now, the part number for this one is PPBSJ8, or their internal number is item number 70310. These are made in Taiwan, which is nice to see. I do like these Taiwanese made ones. And we'll go through all this, right? They claim to have 5 locking positions. That is what the KNIPEX has. They claim to have a unique jaw, and it's made for gripping strip screws or studs. And they maximize the opposing teeth for maximum performance. So, anyways, they talk about all the different materials you could grab, or fasteners, hex, square, what have you. And I actually just realized right here, gripping capacity for diameters and widths up to 1 1/4 inch. Let's see what that says underneath there, because that is a sticker that has been placed on top. Well, of course, you can't even see what it is because it peels everything back. I'll look into that, see if I can get that off without tearing it apart. But this is the Icon version, and I haven't reviewed the KNIPEX, so let's kind of talk about real quick the KNIPEX before we jump into the Icon, because this came out first, and it's been around for years now, and it's a really nice tool, right? It's very slim, has a very slim jaw profile, because if you're trying to get in a tight place, this comes in very handy, as opposed to, say, right, say you got a regular set of slip joint pliers. That head profile is much smaller. Plus, as you see on regular pliers, it just continues to get larger as it goes down. So on these KNIPEXs, it is nice because they keep those arms in tight and close, and so as you close the jaw more and more, it becomes much more slimmer profile. So anyways, really good pliers. And how you adjust them, and what makes them really nice and unique, are several factors. But this push button adjustment right here is nice because you have 5 individual positions, and it's hard to count all of them, but trust me, there's 5 inside there. And as you can see here, this is where it engages in essentially the fulcrum of the pliers. So really nice. And see, as you can see here, fully squeezed close on that max opening here, you have a nice jaw opening. So able to grab much larger fasteners, like so, to be able to tighten and loosen as needed. And then as you bring it down closer, you're able to use it on much smaller screws or fasteners. And it fits in your hand quite nicely. Now I have this nylon dipped handle. It isn't super thick at all by any means, but it's sufficient, right? And it's not too pliable in your hand, so I do like that. Now looking at the profile of the jaw, you will notice, right, that it is kind of an S shape inside there, right? It's not a traditional oblonged oval jaw that you might see in traditional pliers. This shape allows for you to bite onto fasteners, be it square, be it hex, right? And you're able to catch them essentially on the flats. And then as you push on them, those teeth are designed to engage into those flats, or say you got it on the corners, it will do it on the corners as well. And so it bites in very tightly and very nicely on fasteners. So that profile is super nice to have, and it changes as you go from front to back. Now as you get to the tip, you'll notice that it looks a little different here at the front, right? Compared to your traditional pliers that are blunt tipped, these actually have a slight diamond shape. And that diamond shape is, once again, meant for grabbing on to fasteners head on. and it makes them stay clinched and locked in there as you remove fasteners. So really neat system, and we'll dive in here real quick so you can see what that profile looks like. Right, so you can see that you have several going left to right, and these are actually really well forged in there. They got a really good grip. And then as you look at from the front end here, you can see that profile drop down. You know, those I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 teeth inside there as you try to grab head on. And you look at this side, it actually goes a little bit deeper, right? Because that profile runs deeper into here. And so you can get a deep grip on those fasteners, right? Instead of grabbing them just at the tip, you could actually come back here further and grab deeper. And that would be actually more ideal for studs. So all in all, really grippy, really nice, and just an overall nice set of pliers. Now it uses this little piece of steel, stainless steel in the back, as a kind of a retention spring. So as you press on the opposite side, it pushes through. And then they use, but that's a Torx, yeah, that's a Torx screw on the tail in there that keeps it in place. Yeah, but it does allow it to be serviceable too. So if you need to get in there, tear it apart, you can easily remove that and adjust grease or just have regular maintenance on these pliers. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the KNIPEX's. Great pliers. These typically run, I think I picked mine up for 40. I see them bounce between 35 and 40 bucks typically on Amazon. So that's on average the price. And for 40 bucks, they are an exceptional piece of German technology. They are really nice pliers, and they grab on things really nice. So that's being said for the KNIPEX's. What about these icons, right? And if you look at them side by side, there are a lot of similarities. The overall profile is the same, and let's be honest, jump in here, that jaw is actually exactly the same. Has the same amount of teeth in there, right? Even that little double tooth right here you see, everything is exactly the same. And then let's take a wide open look inside the mouth. Make sure I'm pointing the same way so the geometry looks the same. We'll put them in there nice and close, and look at those teeth. They all line up almost exactly the same for that last row. There's a little bit extra material on this set of icons, but look at that, guys. That is exactly the same. Now there is a couple. The profile did change a little bit inside here. It looks like it appeared to be 1 or 2 extra set of teeth. And you can see when you close it here in a second. Let's actually flip over the other side before I close it. Take a look here. And once again, incredibly similar. Same tooth count for the horizontal ones. There might be a slight tooth difference on these vertical teeth. But take a look. That is too close for comfort. So, I mean, direct match, let's say. Now, let's take a look at, this is something that is uniquely different. And I'll actually admit, I don't think either KNIPEX or Icon did a great job on the final finishing work on some of these things. And we'll go through it. This is just a little bit offset to one direction up here. And this one closed has a little bit of a gap going through it. But you'll see that the Icon has a bigger opening. And that may be advantageous to you depending on what size fastener you want. If you're going to be dealing with smaller fasteners, I would say the KNIPEX would be an advantage for sure. But if you're using larger fasteners, in the case of the Icon, this would be advantageous because you have a little bit bigger mouth inside there. It is also worth noting, as you guys can see here, that the width, the overall width of the Icon versus the KNIPEX is wider. So we could take a quick measurement here. Get you guys a quick measurement. We'll do the overall outside of the jaw. Give a good squeeze here. And we'll just say 12.43 millimeters versus 11.55. Right, so almost a whole, actually a whole millimeter plus thicker, or almost a whole millimeter plus thicker. So that gives you more material in the head, essentially, potentially more stability for this set of pliers because of that extra material. But I mean, once again, the KNIPEX might be more advantageous for those of you guys getting into tighter places because that head profile overall is smaller too. I mean, side to side, this head is wider than this one. And we could do a quick measurement of the two. The KNIPEX comes in at 29.12. Or sorry, that's the icon. And the KNIPEX comes in at 27.14. So 2 millimeters difference, roughly, in the head size. So smaller profile, the KNIPEX takes the lead. Even in weight, too, it's worth noting that icons are noticeably heavier. Now let's look at the finish work. Once again, I feel like the KNIPEX not quite as clean, right? And this is just my set, but that forging could have been cleaned up right there. On this icon here, fairly decent, but then you flip it over the other side, and KNIPEX looks much better, and the icon actually has these very pronounced bumps that were not fully cleaned off. So, not the best on either part, but relatively close, I'd say, quality-wise for finish work. Now, when you're looking at the beams, one of my biggest gripes, and this video is something I wanted to show you guys, you can see that light straight through the bottom here. And it may be hard to tell, but these outer beams actually are bow-legged. So it comes back tight here, and that's because the forging completes and it's a solid piece at this end. But it spreads out. Now, in all my use, I've been trying to squeeze it really hard and see if the bowing changes whatsoever, and I have not seen any change. But because of that bowing, as you have this in your hand, you do get some jaw play. Now I'm not saying that every icon out there is going to have this same problem. This might be my batch. This might be their first run, so they're just getting everything dialed in. But it is worth noting that there is just a little bit of play, whereas if you grab the KNIPEX, it does have a teeny bit of play, but it's nowhere near, and you can see them side by side, guys. It's nowhere near that sloppy in the middle. So there's a little bit of slop. Does it affect the overall performance? I would say very minimal. The icon is still very nice. Now, diving into the design, I kind of chose to put these partial chevrons in. I don't think that was a great idea. Yeah, it gives it a look. Maybe it has fish scales to somebody. But it does take away from the forging. So you do not have that added material here for strength. It actually compromises it. So not a huge fan of that. But given that this forging area is thicker for most of it, it does get a little bit larger here on the KNIPEX. So I don't think you're going to really miss out too much. You can see going into the handle, it actually carries more material than its KNIPEX counterpart. So yeah, a little weird that they did that. And then the icon is laser etched on there. So it'll last a bit, but I imagine it's going to wear off and go away. Oddly enough, there's no extra writing on this. I was expecting quite a bit more writing, but none whatsoever. When it comes to the handles, this may look familiar to you guys. Icon has regurgitated, once again, their foam cushion grip. I'm going to call it the foam cushion grip because it does have a sense of pliability to it. And I will say, in my initial use of it, when you squeeze down really hard on a fastener, that actually does help to comfort your hand. Whereas the KNIPEX, there's not a whole lot of material there. I mean, you got quite a bit more help. But I did notice that if I'm doing the twisting action, say I got a fastener in the end, and I'm twisting it in this direction, as opposed to trying to come at it this way it's fine, no problems. But if you try to go left to right, like this, maybe we could show you. But that whole handle spins around in place. It is not super secure inside of there. So It's left to right twisting. Right, as you really bind in there, you're going to start spinning that foam left and right. Whereas the Knipex, super tight, it's not going anywhere. So I give the point to Knipex on that. Now, I want to talk about the push button real quick. The Knipex works great with the push button. It is a bit smaller, so it's you kind of got to get right on it to activate it. Whereas the Icon, that is a much bigger button, and it is super easy to use. No complaints there. I will admit, though, as you get to this very first position, it does not always want to lock in on mine. So as you close it, I actually did it this time. And maybe I just need to wear it in, but that finite function was already having me butting up on the second setting. So anyways, back to the button. The button spring load feels good. It locks in. I haven't had it pop out or nothing. That seems perfectly fine as long as it's already locked in. But that position seems to work. Now, the downside is I don't see any ability to service this or remove it. I haven't been able to dive in and see where exactly what keeps it retained, but that means it's not serviceable. The Knipex is serviceable. You're able to pull that out, let this drop out, and service and clean inside there as needed. That is a really nice feature. I like that a lot. But if the Icon ever has a problem, you get to take it back. And if it breaks up in here or stops functioning, you have a lifetime warranty on this tool. Whereas the Knipex, I haven't had a warranty of Knipex yet, but all my research, they tend to claim that they will warranty it for any manufacturing defects. That seems to be almost forever, but it sounds like in certain cases people have tried to warranty items from Knipex, and they claim that they only do a two-year warranty. So your mileage may vary. Feel free to comment, guys, if you guys have had experience with the Knipexes. I just have not had that experience yet. So all in all, the Icon, let's look at lengthwise. Right, the Icon is ever so slightly longer. Let's line it back up a little bit better. Yeah, ever so slightly longer, so a little bit more leverage. And gripping, they both seem to grip pretty good. We'll actually do a quick test here, and we're going to see, right, how well these grip onto items. So let's take, for instance, this block here, and let's try out the Knipex and see how well we could grab these screws. Right, because I'm sure you guys are like, well, how does this work? Well, you got a screw right here placed, and you just take it, squeeze real tight. In this case, it slipped off. Let's try that again. Yeah, it might be a little bit too countersunk to get that one. Let's do the next one. All right, and these are in tight. I actually used my impact on these, so I was able to loosen that one just a little bit. A little bit more. So that just goes to show you how good that gripping power is on the end, because these are driven in with an impact. All right, let's try this again. This one is a stainless screw. Nope, slipped right off on that one. That one is in, oh so tight. Let me try just bring that down a little bit tighter. All right. Okay, drops into place. Oh, wow. Okay, got it. That actually grabbed on. And it's worth noting that if you're using this, it is going to mar up whatever screws you're using, especially if they're on tight. Now I'll say my hand, you can actually see where it's a little bit red there. That's a little bit rougher on the hands. So if you're going to do a lot of extraction that way, I would say your day is not going to go super well by the end. So let's go ahead and throw the Icon on. Same idea, right? Grab on that same fastener. That was actually a little bit easier because once again, these cushion grips are nice. Let's see if we grab that fastener up here that wasn't able to come off. Get a better grip on here. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Oh, I got it. So I did a little bit better job on that one for the Icon. So, for what it does, it does pretty good. Let's try Let's try something on a, it's gonna be a little bit tighter. So we grab onto this guy. I'll use both hands, see if we can actually twist him off. Nah, he's on too tight. We'll give the KNIPEX a fair try as well. Okay, let's see if we get it. Both bit in, both did a good job grabbing, but in the case of this turbocharger bolt, no dice getting that off. Now, one thing that I usually run into sometimes is, say with these electronics, sometimes these get seized up because they'll actually put Loctite on these. And it's nice because the metal here in these screws is actually pretty soft. And if you could come in here and just break them loose, got a good grip, boom, broke it loose. Then you can come with the screwdriver and finish it off. I'll do the same one down here. Perfect, worked as well. So I'm having a hard time finding much difference in the gripping power between the two. They both do a good job. Now, looks wise, I will admit the KNIPEX has a cleaner, refined look. Icon probably trying to make sure that they don't steal everything from the KNIPEX, but I do like this, and I might even buy a separate set and even grind down this profile so it's not so pronounced. I can keep a nice little tight profile on these. So I would say, I mean, you're talking price wise, once again, roughly $40, $35 to $40 for this. This is right now $19 at your local Harbor Freight, and if you get a coupon, boom, you can take another 30-40% off, or probably 20-30% off on those as they come around. You get it for even cheaper. So it's a great design. I actually wanted to see what it looked like profile wise versus these pistol grips. Let's actually close that back down just so you guys could see when you go to purchase. So yeah, so the pistol grip's gonna be more for your smaller fasteners. You can see this has a much better profile for your larger fasteners. And then if you guys have already seen my video on these engineers, I really like these. These are pretty much the best at taking off fasteners. Yeah, the engineers are going to probably be more in line profile wise. Sorry, get you guys back on camera to the pistol grips. So there you go, guys. That's what we're looking at here. Are they good? How would I rate these side by side? I would say if you're a professional, 100% go and get yourself a set of KNIPEXs. These are great. These are solid performers. I like that the handle does not spin. But I would also say in the same breath, also get a set of these. And especially if you are maybe more of a do-it-yourselfer or a shade tree mechanic, or on a budget, you are not going to go wrong picking this up versus this. Yeah, you might have a little challenge with this rubber grip coming off, but I mean, you could probably throw some glue inside there. Maybe you just redip them in something else if you don't care. But otherwise, clamping force wise, much more comfortable in the hand than these ones are. But once again, you lose that when you try to spin on or off a fastener. So I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. How has your experience been with the KNIPEX? And yeah, I'd like to see what you guys think. Do you think, based off of what you've seen here, that the icons would be a great fit? Please share your comments, and please like and subscribe. I also want to take a quick second for those of you guys who are hanging on. Thank you. We actually just passed our 1,000 subscriber mark, so thank you all who have subscribed to us, because it means a lot. These are a lot of videos that we put out, and we do it for your guys' benefit because we want you to find the right tools for what you need. So anyways, guys, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for joining us. We'll shoot you another video here soon.